Uh, this is going to be pretty painless. I do have 5 artist IDs at the end of the interview. Would you be able to read those for me?
That I'm not. It's unacceptable. Can't do it for you.
That's unacceptable. Okay.
No, it's
All right. Well,
unacceptable.
fuck
No.
you. I don't want to talk to you
Yeah.
anymore. Okay. Let's see. I guess we'll just get into it. Interview portion is about 15 to 17 minutes in the show. And
Yeah.
if it ends up going longer than that,
I'm
it's
quitting.
all
I leave. If it goes to 18 minutes, I fucking
it's
shut off. No warning. No warning. I'm just gonna rock star out.
just
I'm gonna be like, yo, man, you changed since Rock on the Range.
drop the
Get
mic.
your
Okay.
shit together.
Now we put that up on the YouTube channel so everybody gets the full unedited interview. So all your fans will see.
So they can see me worrying about what my hair looks like before we start recording.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
The good thing is my fans know that already. They're like, he takes like 20 minutes to get his fucking stupid hair ready.
Yeah, you're a sexy bitch and you know it. Okay, you ready to go, man?
I'm ready, man. Yeah. And
Okay.
apologies for being a few minutes late. I honestly, I'm out of practice doing the whole touring, traveling, and everything combined. I'm like, oh fuck, I got an interview, and a little ping comes up like interview in 15 minutes. I'm like, I got to put a ping at like 30 minutes and 2 hours. Like, I got to get on. You're not the only one who's fallen short since 2018, man.
Well, it's you work your ass off, so it's understandable.
Oh man. But yeah, let's
Okay.
rock and roll, man. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. In 3, 2, 1. Now on to a chat that
Wayne's World. Come on, you know it. I mean, you tell me no one's done that?
No, you're the only one that's done that.
Dude.
Okay, all right. Now on to a chat that I've been waiting with bated anticipation for.
Yeah, man.
New single is out, Sting Like a Bitch. You got a new tour ready to kick off. And in the fashion of being on top of your game, the single's already set to go top 20. I'm looking at next week, man. I'm talking about Shim, and thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for remembering that I make music. It's awesome to see. It's awesome to see. Right?
You do make music, and you make really good music
Thanks,
too.
man. Thanks. Thank you.
First, I want to get to know you a little bit. Let everybody hear, like, where you came from, what you're all about. Can you paint a little picture for me? You know, you're that young boy in Australia, and tell me what fascinated you back then, man.
What a good dude. I remember your interviews, man. They're such good questions. By the way, that's Jamie, my bass player. We're getting ready to go on this tour, so you might see him pop back. It's his studio.
Hey, Jamie, nice butt.
Jamie Lewis,
nice butt.
Jamie Lewis at what is it now? Jamie, the bassist. No, it's
Jamie's Bass Academy.
Jamie's
Thank
Bass
you.
Academy. Yeah,
We're working
Jamie's
on my butt.
yeah.
Jamie's Bass Academy.
Yeah, Jamie's Bass Academy. He teaches bass. That's how good he is. So let's get back to me, motherfucker. Okay. No, seriously, your questions are fantastic. We're gonna need more than 17 minutes, but we'll go over. And
Okay.
what fascinated me, it's a great question. I've never really been asked that. The thing that fascinated me was the first time that I ever saw the creative process. I was raised in the back of theaters. So a lot of people, like, your parents pick you up and they take you home, or they take you to their work. Like when you were, in the 80s,
Yeah.
well, 90s, you'd be like, they take you to work and you'd sit around, do your homework until 5 when they finish work. Well, my parents were actors. You'd go to the theater, you'd sit around backstage while they were rehearsing or getting ready for their show. They were doing it like, 6 or 7 o'clock that night. So I was constantly watching people creating things all the way to, and this is why I find it really interesting when people talk to me, especially in up and coming bands, and they're like, how can you hear that? Or how can you notice that? Or why do you pay attention to that? Because I try to really get into the fine details. And when you're looking at actors rehearsing, I remember vividly sitting in the wings of a play that my godfather was doing, and he just took this woman off. Like, they were in the back room. He took this woman that was playing his wife, and they went onto the stage when no one was around to rehearse how he was going to help her get out of the chair. It was like, we've got this scene. I help you get out of the chair to walk off stage. Let's cross over to this hand. No, what if I just like put my hand out first, then you take it? And I'm like, why does this matter? But it mattered to them. They were paying attention to the flow of the whole thing. So that collaborative, creative process of like every little detail, really, the audience might not feel it, but they'll feel it if it's not there. they'll look at them and go, oh, that was a bit awkward, but they won't know why. And the actor's job or the performer's job is to make it feel seamless. So when you walk on stage and you're rocking 20,000 people, you need to look like that's just what you do. That's just another day at work. You're not thinking, you're not stressed. There's no mistakes. If there are mistakes, it's fucking on purpose. And
Okay.
like that level of just flow. I've always been chasing that place of like being in flow. And that's why I love working with Jamie at Deadbeat Studios, which is where we are now. Because every time we sit down and work, it's just flow. It's just, that's why I insisted him being on the tour with me and Anything But Human, because he's my boy.
So when you talk about being on stage and some does fuck up, so to speak, uh, do you actually think about like things that happen, put scenarios in your head and be like, okay, this is the way I'm going to react if this happens on stage?
No, I remember I saw a friend of mine once, might have been like 17. He was British and he stacked it. He fell over, he fell out of his chair. And it was
Okay.
hilarious. And I remember thinking initially, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. He's going to be embarrassed. He just got up right away and he said, did anyone have a camera? Did anyone catch that? That was epic. And he made fun of himself immediately. And I was like, that's how you handle it. So whenever I make a mistake, I'm like, I don't care. Sometimes I'll make a mistake with the crowd. Sometimes I'll make a mistake with the guitar or the vocals. And the general thing is like, I'll just look at the crowd and like, what? Can you do it better? Shut up. Like, let's go. Let's just get on with it. Like, let's move on. Like just, it happens. So like, no, I don't plan it. I don't have any sort of like, you think of like how comedians deal with hecklers. It depends on the heckler. It depends on you need to be in the moment,
In the moment kind of thing.
and you have to roll with what's really happening, because a crowd, if you show them weakness, they'll eat you alive, man. Like they'll be like, we're looking up at you we paid money. We're looking up at you. Be the guy up there. Don't fall don't fall beneath us. Like act like it's all cool, man. Like own your place. Be there. We paid for it. One of the best lessons I learned, man, back in the day, I used to get really nervous before I walked on. I was worried about it. My old manager told me they came to be rocked. So you're not giving them anything they're not expecting if you just go out there and act like a rock star. And suddenly it switched. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be up there. They'll be down there. We all agree this is what we want to do. I'm doing my part. I don't need to be nervous.
Everybody's playing their roles. So
Everybody
yeah.
is where they want to be, and that's the thing. When you get up on a stage, when you start out doing it, you do it for validation. You want people to do this and say, when you were up there, you were great. That means you're great, right? You're a good human being. And that's why you do it, right? That's why we start. And then eventually you get to the point where you're like, well, I don't want to give anyone else my power. I don't want someone else's opinion of me to dictate whether I think I'm good. And once I got past it, I'm like, so why am I doing it now? Oh, because it's really fun. Because it's really fun to create that vibe and just be like, I'm up here, you're there, we want to do this together. I'll do my job, you do your job. And everyone's always happy. Every show comes with a money back guarantee, and no one's ever asked for their money back.
And that word fun is something that I stress a lot right here on this show, because fun has really been lost from a lot of rock of
Tell
late.
me about that. I want this to be a conversation, my brother. So tell me why you think that's happened. Why?
Why I think that's happened?
Yeah, you just said fun's been lost in rock and roll.
Okay.
What the fuck happened, man?
Too much technology, no, I should say relying too much on technology and not on talent.
Okay. Is there any other reasons?
I would say that is number one.
Mm-hmm.
That is number one. I guess number two, in the same respect, is I feel, and I don't know, you tell me how you feel about this. I feel that people aren't really working on their craft because they're able to rely on technology too much.
Yeah, that is, I totally agree with you. I think that's 100% true. I think there's also a couple of layers deeper. And I think this is one of the things that I really started to, the difference between 2018 when we last saw each other and now is that I have a very specific mission that I've taken it upon myself to do, which is, I think that there is a bridge that needs to be built between artists and fans. And some artists are doing it and most of them aren't. And a lot of fans they don't really know how to. There's a lot of them who do. I'm not saying that no one does. My fans, I've figured this out because I've done it with my fans. Like during the pandemic, I wrote songs with my fans. I created a community, and I realized, oh, this is where it's going, and this is what people want. And but a lot of bands, they just think like, especially rock bands, they're like, I just want to make a song, put it out, be famous, and have everyone do everything for me. And I don't want to talk to people on social media, and I definitely won't answer DMs from fans. And I'm like, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. And it's like the core thing that it breaks down to, brother, is if you say what you just said, technology has broken the business. You go a little further, you go, technology's made things so easy that people who create music don't have to work as hard to sound good, right? And they don't really want to sound good. They want to sound competitive. They want to sound as good as the bands that they like. However, the bands that they like usually have been working for 20 years, learning how to craft songs, play shows, and do all the stuff. But now they use the same drum samples and guitar tones. So now you can copy that and you can sound good, right? The difference is that if your song has no spirit, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And the fans actually don't care about production quality over a great song. Catchphrase is, what's the antidote to a crappy snare drum sound in the studio? Answer, a hit song. A hit song.
You are so correct.
Right?
Oh,
so
God.
My thing is, I created a thing, and I'm going to do a shameless plug, man. shimsmasterclass.com. If you go there and you want to learn about this stuff, I have courses and I do a weekly call because when I said it's my mission, I wasn't kidding. I built a whole thing that's a community for people to learn about this stuff and my music encompasses the message, and I can show you how I do this as I create my music and develop the fan base and teach everyone all the things that I'm doing. Because the thing that's missing is, and I see it, man, I do a weekly call with younger artists and I see them dodging it. They're worried about the tone. They're worried about the guitar. They're worried about the bass. They're worried about, and I'm like, where's the song? What are you trying to say? Why? No one cares about the things you care about. They only care about, I went through an experience. Here's what it was like. Do you feel the same? Are we can we connect on this? That's literally all it is. Everything else is designed to support that, and they're missing that. If you don't have that key ingredient, you're supporting an empty shell, and people walk in, they go, it's empty, and then they leave. No one wants to live in that community. No one wants to be in that space, and then they're worried like, why can't I get any followers? How come no one's my Spotify streams are? Because you're going backwards, man. You're doing it the wrong direction, right? So. And my catchphrase is, the work does the work and great doesn't discriminate. If you're great and you do the work, people will just go, you're great. And you continue to be great because you keep working. The work does the work, right? And you only need 3 good songs. 3 good songs and people will put up with a shitty live show and an album full of filler. Just get 3 good songs.
and basically, too, you're talking about connection.
Dude, it's all about connection. That's all it is.
There's so much of a disconnect right now between new artists and.
But I'll blow your mind. You ready to get your mind blown? This is what.
Okay.
This is what fucks people up. Okay. You call it connection, disconnection. You go, the bands are disconnected with the fans. Okay, cool. Why? Because the fans are disconnected. The bands are disconnected from their music because they don't really put 100% of their spirit into their music. The truth is, the people who are in the creative role, the band, the singer, the artist, are disconnected from themselves. If they were connected to themselves on a deeper level and had a little bit of balls to say, hey, man, I fucked up, or man, I'm being selfish right now. Here's a song about how selfish I am, because that's just what's real for me. If they had the balls to just say, here's who I am right now, it would change everything. But there's a weird, and I'm still looking for it, man. I'm trying to find that little thing that can really, really connect. How do you teach and support an artist to be fearless, to be like, I'm broken, but not fearless in, I hate my dad and I don't know why, I'm going to rise from the ashes like a phoenix from the night, or we are all champions and let's go get them, because I'm sick of that lyrical content, okay? Sorry, boys, I'm sick of it, okay? So, and don't get me wrong, I'll put it in elements of my song, but to have every song on your album be about rising from the ashes, you got to give us more, man. You got to give us more.
Got to have that feeling and
You got to
content
put your
to go
soul
there.
into it.
Yeah.
I need ingredients. I call them in my songwriting course ingredients. Touch, sound, numbs, touch, sight, smell, or all that stuff. All the five senses. When you go through an experience, you have a sense memory. This is acting stuff, right? You learn this. If when your girlfriend broke up with you, she burnt the toast, that smell is with you for life. You can use that in a song, right?
Yes. Yes.
But that's like, where's the details, man? Where's the details of the small things that make me go, oh, he's like the guy next door. He's like a friend of mine. I'm having a conversation. We're connected. I remember when my girl broke up with me, the dog had shat in the room and no one cared because she was breaking up with me. Now dog shit every time I think about my girlfriend
No,
breaking up with me.
I was
Like
gonna
everyone's
say.
got a thing. Everyone's got a thing. But everyone just wants to write songs that sound like Godsmack and Disturbed from 2010.
So
Like,
everything is
hey,
formulaic. Yeah.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'm not, I mean, we know what we're talking about here. And I am sick of bands talking about how their royalty streams suck and that fans need to work harder. Fans will do everything you ask them to do if you give them what they fucking want, which is something to connect to and an opportunity to pay you. That's it.
Or so if I can take a title from one of your old songs, Hallelujah, brother.
My man.
Yes, that is completely true, man. What led you to music? Because I mean, there was the whole theater thing, and then you did the acting thing for a while, and you even got into movie roles and stuff. But what led you to music?
What led me to music was there was two or three things. The thing that led me to decide to devote my life to music was selfish. The thing that led me to it instinctively was spiritual. I started to hear songs. I started to hear songs before they were written. They weren't good, but I would hear,
Okay.
oh, if I, I'd pick up a guitar and I go, yeah, like that. And I started to realize like, oh, I've got this talent. I can write ideas. And so when that happened, I was like, this feels like something that like I looked at other people at the school and no one had this gift. There was no one that was like writing new songs. They were all either not playing music or copying Green Day. And I was like, oh, I can write songs. This is pretty cool. And then I started to put my stories into my songs. And never forget it, man. The first song I ever wrote, it was crazy. And my dad, who I'm on good terms with now, we had a period where we didn't get along. But before I moved out of home, I was trying to write songs and I was practicing guitar. I was getting okay at guitar and I was a pretty crappy singer. And I'd written like 3 or 4 songs and I showed my dad these songs and my dad would go, what's it about? And I go, no, it's not about anything. It's just words. He was like, well, you should write something about something. And I came back to him a couple of days later. I said, I can't think of anything to say. And he said, don't worry, you'll get there. It'll come. And then no shit, man, about a week later, I used to go to drama classes on the weekend, and there was a girl that I was friends with, and she didn't show up for 1 week. And I found out in the middle of I called her. I'm like, hey, you missed class. And she's like, yeah, my father died. He had a heart attack while we were at the shops. We came home, he was just dead. And we're just all fucked. Like the whole family's fucked. And I really, I wanted to be there for her. And I couldn't because her family was like, we're taking 4 weeks. We can't talk to anyone.
Okay.
She just said, I'll call you back and that was it. And I remember feeling like, what do I do? And she told me the whole story. She said, we went out. He said he was fine. We came home. He was on the floor. I remember I dropped the groceries, details, things that go in songs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wrote a song and it was a horrible song, but it was a song. And I remember when I finished it, I'm like, I can make things. Holy shit. I can make things.
That was your moment of clarity.
Yeah, it was really an aha moment. I'm like, oh, I have something. It doesn't need to be my story. It doesn't need to come from me. It just needs to come through me. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to chase this because I felt great. I was like, there was no song and then there was song. And I made that. I'm like, wow, that's pretty powerful. And then the thing that I found fascinating shortly afterwards, when you make a movie or you do a play, or even if you're in a band, you have to rely on people. Let's say you're doing movies or commercials. You have to wait for someone to decide to make a movie and you get the role and then a script and then a director. And then so they call you and they tell you where to go. And if there's no one if you don't get hired, there's no jobs. You are bound to other people. You have no power, right?
Yes.
And I was like, well, if I write my own songs and sing my own songs, I have all the power. I can do whatever I want. No one can stop me. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna write fucking songs. Look at me go. I was like, let's fucking go. I'll just write songs and sing songs all day, every day, and eventually we'll see where it takes me. And so I said, well, where do I want to go? And I wrote down when I was 17, #1 artist in the States, platinum record, tour with all my favorite bands, and have them respect me as an artist. And I was like, cool. So that's where songs are going to take me. And then I went and did that for 15 years.
So that was, and it's weird you say that too, because my new music guy here on the show, Monkey Boy, he does that exact same thing. What you were just talking about, writes out like what he's gonna like work towards and what he's gonna accomplish. Yeah. And then he gets that. Now, do you do the same thing he does, where like when he reaches a plateau, then he ups his game?
Yeah,
and you keep on.
You can't stop. Yeah, you can't.
So that's why people look at you as like one of the hardest working people in rock music today.
That's nice. Yeah, maybe. I don't do it to be fancy. I'm just like, what's next? You can't. What are you going to do? The same.
Well, that forward progression is like people drive me nuts to keep on looking back.
Oh like, no! Listen, I have a good little. I love my job, man. I love what I do and being able to do this, and it's so good to talk because like. I have all these little catchphrases that I've put in songs that I've learned over the years, and being able to have the ability to tell people these things. I remember hearing, like in relation to what you just said, when you do driving lessons, I always put things in language that people can kind of put together. You go like spiritual, it's like, it's logical. Let's think logically. Let's think logically about a very large concept that you just brought up. People spend all their time looking back. When you learn how to drive, there's a very simple rule that everyone's very used to fucking following, which is when the car's in reverse, you only back up far enough so you can move forward.
So you can move forward.
So you only look back long enough till you can move forward. That's it. Any more than that is a negative. So it's good to look back for perspective and for lessons, but you only look back long enough so that you can move forward. But then once you decide, oh, I know what to do now, I need to move forward. Now you gotta practice accountability. Because if you don't move forward, you're a bitch. Once you know you gotta do it, fucking do it. Let's go. Like,
and this is why I love talking to you. This is why I was so pumped to like chat with you today, is because you always bring up these points that make me think.
Yeah, man.
And it's freaking awesome. And talking to you, it's almost like and this is like the first time that I met you too, or when it was the first time I met you, it was almost like we had known each other for like a long time. It was like, holy shit, I'm like so comfortable with this guy. It's crazy.
Nah, you're awesome, man. You're a good interview. You're asking I remember your questions. You ask thoughtful questions like. I don't imagine that you're the guy that's like, what's your favorite food on tour? I'm like,
oh God, dude, I hate that crap. The quintessential radio guy asking you like 20 preconceived questions, wait until you shut up just so you can ask the next one.
I'll tell you what I tell a lot of, I mean, I tell anyone in this profession now, any sort of entertainment profession, because we've got to see, you know that, or you'll relate to this, because I mean, how many fucking people have got podcasts now that do not belong
they have no business, man.
Right. But you're a good example. You've done it's clear that you've done your research, you've got a passion for it, and you've asked thoughtful questions based on the research and the passion that you have in an idea of like, I'm going to present something that the audience hasn't seen or felt before. So you're connecting that you're doing what your job is important. You're connecting the fans to an element of me as an artist that they haven't had before. And that's valuable. And that's what that boils down to is, you have a microphone and you've accepted the responsibility that you should have something to say. And most people get a microphone and do not accept the responsibility that they should have something to say, but they don't. So they just fucking talk. And then we get the noise that we live with, right?
Do you know how many people I know that do this job just because it makes them feel important?
Yeah.
They don't do it because they have talent. They don't do it because they like, I'm a fan. I'm a fan on steroids. I share music and I share artists with people, but I'm not in it because it makes me feel like I'm the next best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
But there are so many people, and I'm sure you've been interviewed by a ton of people like that.
Yes. However, I think one of the things that's challenging at times is when you see someone doing things like what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And you get frustrated, right? However, I know that when I started playing guitar, it wasn't to express a life-altering message to another person. It was so that people would clap. So that people would clap and say I was good because I was 15. And you're supposed to do that when you're 15. You're supposed to figure out, how do I make people like me? How do I fit in? How do I do things that make me feel valuable?
That's a big thing when you're that age.
Yeah, of course. And the problem is, so when you look at a 15-year-old with a podcast that sucks, you don't judge him. You go, oh, he's doing what you're supposed to do. When you look at a 40-year-old man,
those are what I'm talking about.
Yeah, those guys, and that's the point where you go, you're supposed to have done more introspective thinking by this part of your life. And a podcast is not going to solve your problems. It's actually going to make things worse because it's a distraction, and you'll put too much value on it that doesn't exist. You go, my podcast is important, but really just to you, right? And that's why I tell people, like, look, you should have a podcast, you should have a band, you should write songs. You should the only rule is don't get pissed off when no one cares, because you're not doing it for the right reasons. So why would they care?
Yeah.
When you think of this idea of, when you get given a microphone, it's your responsibility to have something to say. When you write a song, it behooves you to think of something to say first, to say, why am I making song? Because I guarantee you, I've talked to people in shimsmasterclass.com. I talk to people on my weekly call. I talk to people who are like just guys in bands that are around town. And I'm like, why are you writing a song? And they don't know the answer. They don't know the answer. They're like, because
really?
No, they're like, well, because that's what I'm doing. Why? Well, because I'm in a band. Why? Because, well, you got to have songs, right? The music industry. No, why? Why does this song deserve to exist? Why does this song, why do I give you 3.5 minutes of my time? Because I'll give you 20 seconds and shut it off. You need to earn the rest. Why am I staying, man? Like, it's like a relationship with a girl. You go on a date with a girl and you say nothing and do nothing and expect a second date. It doesn't work that way, man. Right?
Putting things in perspective. You're so good at it, man.
But here's the thing. I think that where we are in this day and age, the fans, the bands and artists, they need to get on board with how things work now. It took me a while. I'm not special, right? It took me a while. But my fans taught me a lot about this shit. They were the ones that said, you don't have a tour and a record label and a XYZ anymore, but we're still here and we're telling you what we want. And then when I wouldn't give it to them, they'd say, why are you doing that? We told you. Can you write, like, we love that song. Can you do another version of that? Or write something that's a story like that. We love that. And then I wouldn't do it. And they'd say, what the fuck? And I go, shit, I should probably start listening. Hey, and they taught me how to do it. But the thing is, I'm lucky I got really great fans. And a lot of bands have great fans. And this is the thing. People, when my manager told me before I go on stage, he said, they came to be rocked. You're not doing anything out of the ordinary. When you go on a date with a woman or a man, whatever, and you are vulnerable to a degree and you listen, that's what a person wants. They want to connect with you. So you're not giving them anything they don't want. So when you listen to your fans and then ask them, what would you like? Or, God forbid, what would you pay me for? They will tell you. And the band has a responsibility to communicate with fans. Fans have a responsibility to say, I like this thing you do, and if you were to do more of that, I would really be happy to support you. That's not hard for fans to do. And I think that fans need to adopt that one responsibility instead of saying, man, bands don't sound like they used to. What the fuck's wrong with everyone complaining about royalties? Well, hey, if you tell someone what you want and say, if you give me that, I will give you $10 or $20. If a band hears that they can get $10 a person from 100 people per month to make a song, that's $1,000 a month. You better believe they're going to do what you fucking said.
They're going to, it's simple, man. Shim said it. Listen to your fans.
Yes.
That's the easiest way. Don't, God, I can't even begin to tell you how many old guys I hear talking about, rock is dead. It's not the same as it used to be. It used to be this way. And I'm like, dude, things change. You have to, they ebb and flow. You have to roll with the punches, so to speak. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing, man.
I got lucky, man. When now when I talk about the Free Hugs video being the first, hi Jamie. When I talk about the Free Hugs video being the first viral video, it makes me sound like an old man. It made me super cool before, but now it's like it's just another element of experience of going, oh, every band that I went on tour with was like, oh, yeah, you got some video on some interweb thing, so now you think you belong on this stage,
Oh,
motherfucker.
what? They thought you were just a flash in the pan kind of
Yeah, but
thing?
no, I don't blame them because it was like it was a viral video. No one understood what it was, and suddenly we were on all these stages.
Yeah.
Luckily, they would see us play, they would hear our other songs, and they would go, "Oh, you guys are okay." And then by the time we got to the second album, we were all sweet. But I remember going on tour with a couple of bands, and they were like, you better not suck. I haven't heard anything else from you guys except that one fucking song. And but I looked at them and I was like, you just don't know yet. You just don't know yet that this is what we're all going to have to do. And now you see fucking Papa Roach and Shinedown and Disturbed all making social content on the
Doing
daily.
the same, yeah.
And some of it's better than others, but they got to do the job. And it's like everyone came around eventually. Now it's like that every band, young bands, don't have anyone telling them. And I don't know if fans are as interested in this, but I think that fans should take an interest in it because you're allowed to ask for what you want. If you see a band and you want to hear more of their music, you're allowed to reach out and DM them and say, man, I like your band. Hope you keep it going. You got any new music? Where's the Spotify? How can I support you? That thing, if they touch you, then say like, man, that song really affected me. Fans do that to me all the time. And I'm shocked to hear that it doesn't happen with some other bands. Some bands it does, but a lot of bands are like, oh no, they're missing that connection. And I think that this change in the business of everything being digital now, there's lots of money to be made digitally. So bands complaining about how they can't afford, that's bullshit. And like you don't want to do the work. You don't want to know. You got into this because you don't have the real courage to do a 9-to-5 job to raise a family or move towards the future. So you want to be in a band and then be special and therefore be more valuable to make more money in less time. But you're not valuable and then you complain about why you're not making more money in less time. Then you should have just got a real job. Like, you got to pick one.
Yeah.
So if it's like, so like if you want to do it, just be like, okay, I need to spend 4 more hours per day, 4 more hours a day. Start with 1. I have to spend 1 hour a day online researching what other bands are doing and follow a couple of these trends and respond to everyone who DMs me and comments in my posts. And then in 1 month, check out if it's changed anything. Do I have more fans? Do I feel better? Did I write a better song? Did I save? Come on, man. Like, job. Do the job. It's a fucking job. Like, it's a job. Like, I'm sorry. And
you were talking a little while ago about your 15-year-old self, and that kind of clicked with me. I'm going to do something. I'm going to turn something sideways. I know a lot of stuff is talked to you about your influencers or asked about your influences, and that's but I don't want to do the quintessential radio crap.
Yeah, man, let's go.
I want to know how you feel about you influencing that next 15-year-old to pick up a guitar and write a hit song.
Feels great. Feels really great. Yeah. I feel a sense of responsibility and I feel a really deep sense of purpose. And I think you can tell that I'm taking accountability for that responsibility by the way I'm talking right now. Because
you're passionate as hell.
Yeah, man. I'm passionate because one of the things that like, okay, I'll break it down to you. And by the way, people who are watching who are not in bands, I'm going to pivot it so that it's like, fans are going to get value out of this right now as well. Here's the deal. There are a couple of things that are required to have a happy, joyful life. One of them is to have close friends and family that you can trust. The other one is to have a sense of purpose. And then food and water. That's basically it. If you can have food, water, shelter, people around you who you love, and one thing that provides a sense of purpose, you're way ahead of the game. Most people lack 2 of those things. They don't have people that they really care about, and they have no sense of purpose. Now, when you go to songwriting should be fulfilling a deep sense of purpose, right? Yeah. You should be like, well, this is my purpose. I write songs. Great. Then the next question that we discussed before is why? Why is this the thing that gives you purpose? Why do you deserve to write the song? What's special about you? What are you going to do? Because the truth is you're not special. You're unique. Your uniqueness is based on your specific ingredients that led you from birth to here. So those are the ingredients that you must put in a song with, here we go, with the express objective to create something and give it as a gift. You give it as a gift with no expectation of anything in response. You say, here's my experience based off my ingredients, and I did a fuckload of work to put it into the structure of a song and make it sound pretty good. Did a lot of work, and I'm doing it because I think that when it's out there, someone else is going to hear it and go, oh my God, I am now less alone in the world. That's what music's for. So if that's the purpose, if you do things for that reason, that's a pretty deep sense of purpose. And then it doesn't matter how much money you make or how many likes you get or how many people follow you, because the people who do follow you will become the people in your community who are trusted friends and family.
The people that you care about. Yeah.
Two birds with one stone.
Wow.
Right?
I never looked at it that way, Shim.
Dude, you can create your whole joyful experience by just flipping your mindset and doing the fucking work, man. Just do the work, put your spirit into the song with the express permission of I'm going to give instead of worry about what I get. And then you will get tenfold, man.
It all comes back to you. Wow. Yeah. Let's talk about your singles, Sting Like a Bitch.
Yeah.
This, first of all, the cadence at the beginning, that grabbed me is freaking awesome. But where did this come from? It sounds like you're speaking to someone.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. It's speaking to an amalgamation of everyone who's currently in power, right? And the purpose of the song was, I would meet with some. This actually is a song off my solo record that's been reimagined. So we're kind of like it's kind of like we recycled an old song. But originally I would do songwriting sessions with a few people, and you listen to everything everyone's talking about, and it was pre-pandemic. So it's a lot worse now, but it was just like, man, we can't get a break. Can you believe how expensive things are? Can you believe that this guy in power and, Amazon or Musk or politicians or whatever, everyone's like, the money keeps going up and we're not getting a chance. And it's a tale as old as time, but I was like, okay, everyone feels the same way. So how do I put this emotion into a song in a way that sounds fresh, but it's really pure, and it's not directed at any one person. It's directed at the big umbrella of like all these guys that are just, we know that they're abusing their power and using us like little chess pieces, and there isn't really much that we can do. However, one of the things that came up was in 2008 when the financial crisis started, and a lot of people were like, yeah, these banks are gonna go down, and these people are gonna lose their jobs, and they're gonna da-da-da. And for a lot of people who were in power, they did lose their jobs, and they did lose a lot of people didn't. A lot of people got bailed out, but at least there was some level of, you will get what's coming to you eventually, right?
Okay.
And that's where the conversations usually left off. It wasn't supposed to be a question or an answer. It was supposed to be, man, I am sick of how you guys are running this shit, and I'm just gonna, when the time comes when it slaps back on you, I'm just gonna enjoy watching because you got it coming. And that's it. That's what the song's about. It's not about we're going to rise up. It's not about here's a plan of attack. It's just, man, fuck you. We see what you're doing. And sooner or later, it's going to break.
Going to come back to you.
Yeah.
Lifestyles of the Rich and Blameless tour. And actually that line is in Sting Like a Bitch.
Yeah,
now, was that just a happenstance of how you named your tour, or
just a cool title, man? Just a cool title. We were literally like, I started working with John from Curtain Call. He booked this whole tour and helped make this whole thing happen. And he was like, hey, so what do you want to call the tour? Like, what do you want to call it? Like the summer tour, Shim tour? What do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. So the next day I was like, what about this? And he was like, that's going to look great on a shirt. That's going to be cool. People are going to like that. Lifestyles. It's a good little title. And it's a good lyric, and yeah, a lot. I find it one of the most humbling things when you write a lyric that you like. Because I remember when I wrote it, I was like, "That's fresh. That's a pretty cool fucking way to start a song." And then when people hear it, they're like, "That's a cool line," and I'm like, "Yeah, cool." It's really nice when people hear it and they agree with me, and I'm like, "Yeah, that is. I'm not wrong. That's pretty cool." Yeah.
Made me think of the old days with I can't even remember the guy's name. Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Yeah, that's what it's from. Yeah, but that's I forget what that guy's name is too now. But yeah, that guy.
I can hear him in my head. But
Yeah. Yeah.
shimmusic.com is the website. And you are, well, already in talking to you about the way that you have to connect with fans and stuff, I can already see that why you are. But I want to let everyone know Shim is on every social you can think of. And then you have the Discord,
Yeah.
and yeah, and you already brought it up. I was gonna talk to you about your master class, but then also there's that package on your Patreon.
Yeah, yeah, I have a Kajabi package now where, yeah, we're actually, yeah, basically, I have a very exclusive club and I decided to sort of change things up a little bit. We're going to do the final working of it after this tour, but you can get all of my unreleased music that is not going to get released, plus all my old demos, and also all the old videos of, home movies and early band performances and stuff, and commentary videos for all of it, where I'm like, hey, we were here doing this. This is why that happened. Look at that stupid face, all that sort of shit. Um, and all of it on a private server that's basically $47 a month, and it comes with a free ticket to a show every month. Every month I do a private Zoom concert for people who are in my community, or you can buy a ticket, but it's the same price as the community, so you just go to the community.
Go to the community.
And yeah, and you get all this stuff, and basically anytime I'm working on music, it's a Patreon. It's like I put up new music, stuff that's not going to get released, demos, things I'm working on, stupid ideas, stupid videos, stuff that just doesn't make it anywhere else. And I did that because exactly what I talked about. I remember when I did my first private VIP Zoom concert during the pandemic, and I did it for $10. And my fans came in and they were like, this is great. Like we can hang out, talk, we can request a song that you don't play live. Like we can request a B-side, we can request a cover. And they were like, they told me you need to charge more for this. And I said, well, maybe next time. I was like, no, we will pay you more to come back next week. You need to charge more for this. And
wow. So it was the fans that gave you the idea.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, if you do your job properly, they will give, like, you give and you get, man. It's not a fantasy. It's not some sort of hippie shit. If you really do a great job, if someone cares about you, right? And this is the thing. If you go to your mom and you say, hey, mom, I'm selling lemonade, it's 20 cents a cup, your mom's going to say, you need to charge more. You're not valuing yourself. When people start to care about you, they will tell you these things. When people don't care about you, they will rip you off. So if you're like an average musician who puts on an average show and says, hey, $10 tickets, they're going to go, well, it's better than nothing, $10. But if you're really great and they're like, man, I need to see you again, and I'm going to tell my friends, and man, I want to be a part of this. Like, can I do anything to help? And by the way, you got to charge more next time. Like, this is worth way more. Like, because the truth is, man, if something is cheap, people will assume it's cheap. And if something's expensive, people will assume it's expensive. So you need to decide, are you worth it? And if you are, then charge them. And I have people come into my free, I do live streams on Twitch, now on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. And I have people that come in and they're like, can you play all the same? And I'm like, yeah, man. And I don't give a fuck, man. I'm like, hey, here's a link. You can buy a ticket where you can see everything I've ever done, and you can hang out with me 24/7 in a private community, and you get a free ticket to a show where you can request that song. But I don't give it away for free on the live streams. That's not what this particular product is. You can request a cover, or you can buy a ticket, and the covers are free. But this is how I roll. And sometimes they'll be like, man, thanks for being straight up with me. Okay, cool, I'm going to grab a ticket. And sometimes they're like, man, fuck you. You think you're a rock star? I'm like, nope, I just know what I'm worth, man. And if there's enough people willing to pay and you're not one of them, then you're not my fan. That's cool. Go and find someone else. There's lots of people. Lots of people, man.
I love that thought. It's like, this brings up a memory. Last week, I misspoke on the show, and I said it was August instead of September. And one guy actually, I got a bunch of things that people saying, "Hey, dude, you're in the time warp." Was that music actually from like a month ago? And it's like, no. But I had one guy in there tell me that I shouldn't be on the radio. I was a waste of air, and also he's like, "You're not my favorite person."
He said you're not my favorite person.
Yeah, I just wrote back to him. I was like, well, you know something? You're probably not my favorite listener.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, so like
Yeah,
you're
I
pointing
think
out people telling you like they will be like honest and tell you what they want, or like if they don't care about you,
yeah,
they're
man.
just going to go away.
It's life. It's just life. I think that I spent a long time when I was younger, and I spent a lot of time when I was touring in the band and stuff. You worry what people think about you, and you don't need to, but you need to get there on your own time. You need to figure it out on your own to eventually say, I think I'm happier when I worry less what people care about. I think that makes me happier. I'm more comfortable. I have a better time in my life when I'm less worried about what you think. And for artists, it's very hard. It's very hard to make that thing. For fans, it's very hard now as well because they're like, well, what bands you like dictates the kind of circles that you can be in. And if you're a metal guy, you're a metal guy. And then there's like, almost like I forget what the word is, but generalizations about you. And now fans, this is the best thing. Fans have slowly become like, you can like all sorts of music because Spotify and streaming broke down the doors.
Yeah.
You can really become exposed to so much music. Falling in Reverse is a perfect example of someone who took advantage of that opportunity. Well, people like this, and this, and some people like it when you blend them together. Let's do that really well and continue to do it consistently. And then eventually there'll be a lot of people that like it and I'll have a career, right?
Yep.
And most people at labels or in bands would have been like, well, you need to pick one and then that's it. Or you need to pick one, and then maybe after you've had 1 million records sold or hits and stuff, you can pepper in a beat with a 808, and we'll see if it fucking charts. But no one was willing to have the stones to take the real risk. So, I talk about Falling in Reverse in most of the interviews because they're a really good example right now of he didn't do that by accident, and he's been pushing boundaries consistently for quite a while. And he got a lot of hate, and he kept doing it because he believed in what he did and who he was. And there's a lot of bands now that are trying to replicate that, and they're missing the point. They're missing the point, right? One of the opening lines for one of my favorite songs that I ever wrote, which is called Fearless, which, yes, you can hear that song live on the Lifestyles of the Rich and Blameless tour or on my Patreon community, and the links will be in this video. Thank you very much for putting them in. Mortem.
Very welcome.
One of the things that I talk about, the opening line to my song Fearless is, a wise man once said to me, be yourself because everyone else is taken. And that song has provided a lot of hope for a lot of people. I was very lucky to get that song. I didn't write it. I got it. It got sent, right? Okay. And he's a good example of you can't be him. Don't try. Receive the message of when you do you well, consistently, it works out. So just figure out what you do, who you are, and know that instead of this little cavity of like little lane that the labels own, now it's all broken up. If you do it consistently, eventually all these people are going to find you and they're going to go, I love how you do that weird shit. No one else does that. And then you can get everything you want. But most of these bands they're on sub labels, or they're just worried and they run the same laptops and the same fucking sounds and it all sounds the same. And they have a group of guys from high school that are like, bro, that sounds like Disturbed. Wow. Like that's
the big one, man. It's like, are you playing for people that like your music, or are you playing for the 20 friends in your basement that are telling you you're awesome?
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. Well, we've been droning on, and we have this song Sting Like a Bitch that people are waiting to listen to again. So what do you say we spin the song for people?
Oh, let's spin it. Yeah, man, let's spin it.
And Shim, it has been so freaking awesome to talk to you, man.
Dude, man, I'm really glad we got the time. Thanks for making the time.
I am glad as well. This is the new single from Shim. His tour kicks off on the 3rd. Oh, incidentally, I do want to tell listeners of 95.7 The Panther, he's going to be kicking off his tour 2 hours away from you guys. So you guys who are listening right now, it's a 2-hour drive, man. It's a road trip. And Shim puts on a freaking awesome show.
And it comes with a money back guarantee. So if you don't feel better on the way out than you did on the way in, just come to the merch desk and I'll give you your money back. Get the tickets at shimmusic.com.
There you go. You heard it from the man, the myth, the legend himself. Shim is the man, the myth, the legend. And this is Sting Like a Bitch. It's right here, right now on Real Rock Nights.
Click for the latest video right here, right now. And don't forget to like and subscribe.